Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to discuss some free PDFs that I got online from the Savage World fan community. This is quite a number of bits here. I mean, this is a fairly substantial tome that I'm looking at here. And this is just a third of what I have actually downloaded and printed up and had bound, because again, I prefer to read things in hand as opposed to on a computer screen. And I'm just going to run down these pretty much in alphabetic order as they were saved from the interwebs onto my hard drive. And the first thing I have here is something called Aces High, and it is a Savage World conversion of the Crimson Skies computer game, which is a computer game of aerial combat in a fractured America. So if you want the actual background information, just go do a search for the video game Crimson Skies. That'll give you all the data that you need. This is really just a conversion of what you need to do that kind of play in the Savage World system. And I think they did an admirable job here. It's fairly bare bones. Some of the formatting is, quite frankly, a little amateurish, but it's a fan job, and so I appreciate that they took a lot of effort, and some people have better editing skills than others. But one of the things that interested me in this is that there are all kinds of rules in here for dogfights and things like that, because this game is all about planes and zeppelins blasting each other out of the skies. So that's why I got this right here. Now, I haven't played it yet, so I can't tell you 100% how well it's actually going to function, when the rubber hits the road. But it looks good, and again, free. The next is Advanced Dungeons and Savages, which I thought only is useful, but it's kind of clever. This is a 68-page document, and it covers the rules needed to play not just a fantasy setting, but the Dungeons and Dragons setting from like the first, second edition era. So it has a certain feel to it. The one thing, of course, this does is that the listing of spells is much closer to what you would have found in the D&D rules encyclopedia. It's a very short list because Savage World doesn't have these huge lists of powers, which is fine. That's one of the few problems I really had with 3rd edition, even 2nd edition, was the number of spells was just incredible. I mean, spell gloat was just unbelievable. It was just everywhere. You couldn't shake a stick and there wasn't a new spell falling out of the sky next to you. So I kind of like having a pared down listing of abilities. That kind of thing is kind of cool, and anyone with any GM with the solve to call him that, solve himself that, could convert any existing spell in D&D to a power if you really want to use it. But the book, this PDF does an excellent job of bringing forward that style of play and the atmosphere that was associated with it. So, kudos to you. Next is a Bureau 13 conversion. Now, Bureau 13 is a standalone role-playing game. I actually own a copy. Not surprising there. It's about a government agency which deals with paranormal things. Think the Men in Black. But this one was established by Lincoln and has long-standing traditions within the U.S. Sorry, cats in the background. And it just gives you the flavor checks, essentially. There isn't a whole lot of mechanics in this document, which is 11 pages long. It's not very long. But that's all you really need. It gives you the flavor of the world that is presented in the role-playing game, and you can just pretty much use the standard Savage World rules right out of the box to run the game itself, which is cool. But having this document will help you kind of focus what you want to do if you like the rule system and if you like the idea of Bureau 13. The next is a 2-page document, which is how to convert D20 mechanics to Savage World, and it does exactly what it says, and it does it well, which is very handy if you need to convert things for your own rules conversions. Next is Firefly, a 27-page document, which is about how to convert the Firefly universe from the television series and the movie Serenity to Savage World. Now, the one thing you're going to have to do is you're going to pretty much have to forget ever using River Tam as a playable character. River Tam isn't a character. River Tam is a plot device. She does whatever the GM needs her to do at that point in the plot. She is not balanced against the other characters. Ever. It is never going to work. You can still have psychics in the game, and there are, the established Savage World rules will let you do that, and they are balanced against the other characters, which is fine. But don't ever expect to be able to create a River Tam character in any reasonable role-playing game, because it just isn't going to work. But as far as this conversion goes, excellent job, decent production values. Definitely, if you like the series and like Savage World, this is a must-have. The next is Savage Star Frontiers, which is a conversion of a module. Now, if my memory serves me correct, this is a faithful and accurate conversion of this module. I've read it. I believe I've run it at least once, a long time ago. And rather interesting is that the production values of this module are actually better, I think, than the ones that were. This conversion is better than the ones that were actually published originally in the 80s when the module was put in print. Next is Mythic Ireland. Now, this is a 30-page document, but it is full of incredibly useful background information if you want to run a campaign in the Mythic era of Ireland. I mean, the production values on this PDF are incredible. I've seen many gaming products put out today in the year 2009 that weren't of this quality. These people did an excellent job. You could use this document in any rule system to give you flavor and fluff, so you could really play a decent, very textured Mythic Ireland type of a campaign. Excellent work. 2 thumbs up, man. Next is a 21-page document called Savage Babylon 5, which is rules for the Babylon 5 game in Savage Worlds. Now, this is useful to me because I've always been interested in the Babylon 5 role-playing game, but the number of books that game has is unbelievable. You go do a search on Amazon for Babylon 5 role-playing game, and there's like 20 different books, and I don't even know which one of them is the core rules. I mean, it's just unbelievable amount of material out there. It's just daunting. It's overwhelming. Well, this 21-page book gives you enough to play with. If you've got the series on DVD, or you just have a really good memory of how the series ran, this document will give you all you need to run a Savage World campaign. And that's what you need. You don't need 24 different books, hardcover and softcover books. Yeah, they'd be nice, but and I would love to own them and to add them to my collection someday. But there's just a whole lot of stuff out there that I don't even know which ones I need in which order and which are more useful and stuff. It's a much higher level of immersion than I'm interested in. And the last is the Savage World Fantasy. Now, yes, you can do fantasy straight out of the box with the Explorer Handbook, Savage World, no questions. But this gives you a more complete fantasy setting, and it's apparently based on the legendary game system that Gary Gygax himself wrote. Now, I think I own one of the legendary books. I think I owned the first one, and I just haven't had a chance to pick up the rest because I haven't found them used cheap. It always bothered me that legendary was spelled with a J. That was just kind of silly. But this has a nice flavor. It really does. It approaches magic as being more dangerous. There are different paths. There's a path of necromancy, of sorcery, of thaumaturgy, of theurgy, clerics, and it has some nice stuff on monsters in this, presenting different types of undead, different types of elements and demons and things. And I don't like demons and devils and stuff, but they do a nice job of presenting them in this document. So if you like that setting and you want to use it in Savage World, or you're just looking for something to throw at your characters in a fantasy setting that they're not going to be expecting, this document is definitely it. I'm going to do everything I can to remember to put a link to these documents in the doobly-doo. But if you like Savage World and you want access to these documents, they're free. Go get them.